Oh, there we go.
And welcome into the Backstage Pastor. It is a TGIF version, so always the weekend's around the corner, and that's a good thing. The work week is over, and go to your favorite saloon, bar, whatever it is, your favorite beverage, grab it, and just let the work week just kind of shut off and forget about it. And like I said, focus on music and enjoy the weekend. No doubt coming up here was April Fool's Day. I didn't have any jokes pulled on me today, so that was a good thing. No pranks, nothing like that. We did have a winner for our Rick Trevino, Wade Hayes concert going on tomorrow night at Pedrati's Ranch in San Antonio, Texas. I'll be announcing that later on the page. So best of luck with that. And our partners over at Full Circle Moments and, of course, Pedrati's Ranch. Brandon Morrill here. We're presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. If you want that good whiskey, check them out at easyliquor.com and get it sent directly to your door. And also MitchMacs.com and our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions. Well, I tell you what, it was a surprise Friday. I enjoyed it so much. I got into this season of American Idol, season 20. They're giving platinum tickets now, and a whole 9 other yards have been contacted by some great talent. But this talent I found on my own from the show and from New Orleans, Louisiana, that soul singer. He's done it all. Blues for the City's the current album out there across all the platforms. Kevin Gullage here on the program. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Hi, how you doing? I'm all right.
Good to have you, brother, and happy Friday to you. And, of course, weekend around the corner. Well, I tell you what, let's start kind of at the top as much as we can let the cat out of the bag, too. But it's been a great ride so far for you guys, getting to what we've seen now in the competition leading up to the duet rounds, which are coming up this Sunday night on ABC. Make sure people tune in there. Talk about just your story in music, growing up in New Orleans, the connection you had to all different genres, and some of the people like John Michael Montgomery, Hall & Oates, and people like that. We were talking on the phone just a couple of days ago. You sure have that just down-home appreciation for all genres, and kind of tell your story at the top a little bit.
Well, my story, and I like to say this a lot, my story isn't just my story. You know, being from New Orleans, it's a very rich culture and tradition to be a musician here, especially. My father is a musician. He has 11 siblings, and they were all musicians as well. My grandmother was a recording artist from the 60s, and it's always been something in us, you know. So when I was born, I guess, when I was born, I was already into the environment of music. My father and his siblings, you know, they were all musicians. So my dad, being my dad, I always looked up to him. I was like, man, oh man, he's going all over the place. He, you know, going with your father to the airport while he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Brazil for a week, nonchalantly. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Brazil. I'll see you when I get back. See you later, man. You're like, man, I want to go. It's like, well, one day you'll get there yourself. And, you know, I think I might be doing that pretty soon, actually. And,
Yeah.
you know, he was always like, man, yeah, if you want to be a musician, go for it, go for it. Till one day when I was 6 years old, he came home and he was like, Kevin, what you doing? I said, writing notes. I said, to who? I said, no, Daddy, not those notes, music notes. I said, what? I said, music notes. That's what I'm writing. I said, took the paper from me. And you know what this means? Yeah, I was writing rhythms. And he said, what does it mean? It was a quarter note, eighth note, quarter note. I said, it means ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. He said, and if I write one and tell you to do it, you know what it means. Yeah, he writes one, gives it to me. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. He goes, takes the paper again. He's like, third time, just to make sure it's not a fluke. Ta, ta, ti, 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 ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Out of nowhere, my dad's just shocked. So he goes all the way to my school, kindergarten school, and he goes to the music teacher and says, thank you so much for taking extra time to work with my son. And the kindergarten teacher says, I thought you were working with him. So you know, I was in it. I was always around it, and I was paying attention. So then I started playing instruments. I, you know, had to find something for me to play. So my dad's a bass player. I was like, yeah, I want to be a bass player. I'm all right at bass, and I was always all right at bass. Well, okay, well, I'm in school now, and you know, you can't play bass in a band here. Well, try a different instrument. Tried saxophone. Played saxophone for 6 years. I was all right. I quit. Why did I quit? Because I didn't sound like Kenny G. I was I was like, if I don't sound like Kenny G by now, it's not going to happen. So then when I was 12, I started playing piano and taking private lessons, and it just clicked. It was like I put my fingers on the keys, and it was what was meant to be happening, you know? So I became this pianist. Then I got a little older. I was about 14 years old, and I said, Dad, can I get a job at Winn-Dixie? And he goes, no. I was like, my older brother and my older sister both worked at Winn-Dixie, and they are also professional musicians. So I was like, why can't I get a job at Winn-Dixie? They worked at Winn-Dixie. He goes, because there are too many gigs for a young pianist nowadays. So he didn't let me get a normal job. and I was just like, man. So now I'm forced to do music actually, like the way I want to. So I started playing piano. One day my dad sits me down and says, well, Kevin, because of who you are and how you are, you can't just be a pianist. You have to sing. Like, you know how to sing. I want you to start singing. And not only do you have to know how to sing, I want you to know how to entertain. I want you to know how to put it out there and really go for it. So I started off knowing how to play and sing 4 songs in a small Italian restaurant in Luling, Louisiana. And only knowing 4 songs for a span of about 5 hours is a little weird. So I'd go there at like 3 and stop playing at 8, but I'd be playing the same 4 songs over and over again. And he was like, well, Kevin, you've got the endurance for it. Now you just got to get songs. So I started learning more songs. You know, and I'm happy I'm at a piano, actually. You know the story, can't.
Yeah.
So he goes, well, Kevin, you know what song will really get people wanting to listen to you? There's a song called Brown Eyed Girl. Why don't you learn that? So I go. And he's like, all right, perfect. Yeah. So learn the words. And I learned the words. And then he's like, hey, Kevin, I finally learned it enough to play it. I played it once. He goes, hey, Kevin, you know what song get the people moving? You gotta learn some of the Motown stuff, you know? So he was like, I've got sunshine. And I had to learn that. So it went from learning one thing which is considered rock and another thing which is considered soul. And then he was like, hey, Kevin, you know what'll really get the people moving? Why don't you learn Always on My Mind? So out of nowhere, I had to go, maybe I didn't love you. And I had to learn that one. And it went like that for about 6 or 7 years. Really, it still goes on like that, where he's like, hey, Kevin, you know what really get the people moving? And I just have to learn it. And that was really what catapulted me into being a musician and being an entertainer. And being in South Louisiana, that was a really big thing. Because one, you know, there are a lot of entertainers and musicians here. A lot. Every corner has at least 5. So he would be like, well, Kevin, now you got to start entertaining. And growing up in that town, you know, one factor, and it's a small factor, but it's a big factor for me, is the fact that I am a young black man coming from a sort of, a still sort of growing area in a good way. I love my town, but where you'll have some people who still haven't grown out of their ways. Is the best way to say it. Yeah. So they'd say they'd get to the restaurant and their faces would just be like this while I was playing. And, you know, for a young guy still learning how to play, that really, you know, it sort of hurts, right? Well, my dad goes, Kevin, he's mad at me. He's like, Kevin. It's like, yes, sir. What are you doing? I said, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do. No, Kevin, this is what I want you to understand. Don't look at their faces. And that was the biggest thing he ever told me. Don't look at their faces. Look at their feet. Because if their feet's going like this, you got them. Now you just got to keep them. and that was always the rule. It was like, whether you're playing for one person, 10 people, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million people, it doesn't matter. You have to get them moving. You have to keep them and hold them. So some days that restaurant would have like 7 people in it. Some days that restaurant would have about 37 people in it. And it would be like, all right, 7 people, harder crowd than 37. 37 people, somebody's going to have a good time, and then other people are going to have a good time. 7 people, that's rough. You know, either they're having a good time or they're not. So it was like, hey, learn how to entertain them, learn how to entertain them, learn how to keep them. There are children around. All right, why don't you play a song? Why don't what song do kids like nowadays? Sesame Street. It's timeless. Sunny days, chase, and we learned that. Well, what's the most popular kid song right now? Let It Go from Frozen. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. So I just kept having to learn songs so that I could be the best entertainer that I could be. Because, you know, and growing up, I loved certain music.
Yeah.
Like you asked about John Michael Montgomery and you asked about Hall & Oates. And it's like, I love Hall & Oates. You know, whether it's my favorite recording, actually, one of my favorite recordings of all time by Hall & Oates, technically, but really it's Daryl Hall, is Me and Mrs. Jones.
Oh, yeah.
His version of it was just like, you know, right up there with Billy Paul's. You know, you're like, whoa, these are actual amazing singers. And then I started listening to more. She's a man eater. I love that. You know, it's like, oh man, you guys are grooving with it. And then I was a country kid. I love fishing. I love all that kind of stuff. I was always outdoors playing in dirt. So it'd be like, okay, well, country music. You know what song I always heard as a country song? And then I found out it was a country song. It was this one. It went, I see the question in your eyes. I know what's weighing on your mind. All that. So I was like, man, I'm listening to Daryl Hall and John Oates and John Michael Montgomery all growing up. And I'm just not knowing it until I'm around this age, actually, almost. I think I was in college when I was like, man, I really have been listening to a lot of them my whole life without even thinking about it. And it was, how do I put it? Just mind altering, mind blowing, really, just the way it was going. So I was shaped into something that I feel like the world needs, you know, like I was shaped into something that, you know, with our time now, it's fading a little bit. But it's so important to keep. Like, you know, I don't think there's many groups who can groove as hard as Hall & Oates. I don't think there are many songwriters who write as amazingly as the songs John Michael Montgomery was singing, whether it's that she thinks I could rope the moon. All that kind of stuff was just like, man, oh man. These are things and aspects of entertainment that are important. And then being a pianist, I have all the piano influences like Ray Charles, Billy Preston, Ray Charles, Billy Preston, New Orleans pianist, James Booker, Fats Domino. Nowadays we have John Batiste, and he's a hero to me because he's doing it the way that things used to be done. You know, he's putting out a song for the world, not for himself. It's like just really cool to me. I've said a lot.
No, you're good. I love it. I love the history behind it, and I love that's the musical influence part of it too. And I tell you what's great about this show is just finding talent from everywhere. And you know, I wanted to get a little bit of your background on just how you approached Idol, getting involved in the competition, and taking that center oval for the first audition for Katie, Luke, and Lionel, knowing your song choice. But I was interested in that story that you told before you actually walked over to the piano to play the version of Otis Redding, the song that you auditioned for to get the golden ticket to go to Hollywood.
Yes, sir.
Talk about just how and a lot of people, they met you for the first time on there, if they seen you like I did. I love how you told that story that and I forget the young man's name who walked on the Idol stage and said,
William Hung.
I have no professional training.
William Hung.
Yeah, William Hung. How did that kind of influence you? And did you kind of walk in knowing that I'm going to tell that story to the judges after I tell my name, how old I am, where I'm from, and a little bit of my training? I like the fact that you did that, because you kind of said, you know what? I'm walking in with confidence. I got this, but definitely William Hung inspired you.
Yes, sir. So how I got involved in Idol in the first place was completely just a thing. Another one of my dad's great moments where he's like, "Hey, Kevin, what'll get the people up and moving?" He goes, like, I'm still asleep. Actually, I think it's like 6 or 7 in the morning, and I haven't gotten up. This is one of the days that I'm sleeping in. I hear this on my door. Just opens it. He doesn't even wait for the. He's like, "Hey, Kevin." Yes, sir. What's up? He goes, "You want to audition for American Idol?" I was like, "Sure. That sounds fun. That sounds really fun." He goes, "All right, I'll set it up." Closes the door. Nothing else.
Wow.
And about a week later, he goes, "Yeah, Kevin, so your audition is set on this day." And auditioning for it wasn't stressful. Like I said, I was coming from a place where people might not like you because of how you are, so auditioning for it was like, okay, I've faced way meaner crowds than this. Let's just sing. Let's just have a good time and sing. And after I sang for my initial audition, they were like, "Hey, is there somebody who's like important to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, my dad. My dad is my musical influence. He's my hero." I said, "Hey, call your dad." I said, "Okay." They go, "Hey, how do you feel about your son?" It's like, "Well, he's a great musician. He's really good." They go, "Would you like your son to audition in front of Luke Bryan, Katy Perry, and Lionel Richie?" and he's like, "Well, sure." And they said, "Would you like to go with them?" I said, "Sure." So we end up flying out. And as soon as I get there, I'm blown away. Because the biggest thing is, I don't think you can be prepared for how many people are also auditioning. I mean, it was like seeing a wave of people who do what you do, because that's what it is. It's just that. Like I've always been a little bit different because I'm young and I do this. I'm only 23 right now, and a lot of the people around me were a little bit younger than me, actually. I've always been the young guy in the game, I'm around the older musicians. That's who I hang around. That's who teaches me how to. They're the ones who teach me how to be better. And now I'm faced with people who are my age, a little bit older, or a little bit younger, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of people here, and a lot of them are really, really, really good. And then you're sitting there waiting to do your thing, and you're hearing people practicing singing, and you're like, wow, is this what I do? Is this? And then I remember, yes, this is what I do. This is actually what I do. Why should I be worried? Why should I be scared or anything? This is what I do. A lot of people were walking around pacing and worried and everything. And I'm sitting and I'm sort of sitting back in the back, because I'm like, the more I look around, the less nervous I feel.
Yeah.
Because this is something I do professionally. This is something that not only pays my bills, but it's also something that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I'm a genuinely happy person. So I'm like, man, everyone here is nervous. I'm going to stay happy. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to keep smiling through all of it. So next thing I know, they say, "All right, Kevin, are you ready to audition?" And I'm like, Am I ready to audition? So I walk in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Seeing Katy Perry in person is like, wow, that's Katy Perry. Then being the country music guy I am, I'm like, that's Luke Bryan. And then being me and the soulful guy and the son of musician and the product of all the musicians around me, I'm like, that's Lionel Richie right there in front of me. And my whole everything just went, oh, I'm really here. Katy Perry, one of the most amazing pop singers of all time, pop/rock in my opinion, /R&B.
She's done
Luke
it all.
Bryan, one of my favorite country singers of all time. And then Lionel Richie, the legend, he's Lionel Richie. Commodores, Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
Brick House, Lionel Richie. Like everything, Lionel Richie. All night long, Lionel Richie. Hello. Jesus is love. And you have this whole like, that's Lionel Richie moment. And then you're like, snap back into it. You got to do your job. No time for nerves.
Yeah.
So I stand on that X and they say, hey, who's the idol they say, hey, who's your favorite American Idol? And I say, William Hung. I had no idea that they were going to play a record scratch when they showed it, because I said William Hung very confidently. They were like,
yeah.
Said, why? I was like, well, one big thing that's I didn't say all of this, but one big thing that's always the biggest thing is go out there and give it your all. Go out there and follow your dream and just do it. Just don't question how it's supposed to happen. William Hung got on stage, on platform, and said, I'm William Hung. I'm a student. I have no formal training. But I decided to come here and give it my all. I knew that was my answer the first time they asked. But the more I thought about it, I was like, man, when you really say something like William Hung didn't make it past his audition. William Hung has 2 albums out. William Hung has been on TED Talks. William Hung is an icon. He's William Hung. And it's like, that's what happens when you go out and give it your all.
Yeah.
You know, you might not always get the very thing that you want at the moment, but there's nothing that can really stop you from getting the thing that's coming to you, because you've decided to give it your all.
That's
so
true.
I said, yeah, and William Hung put it all on the stage, and that's what I want to do.
You did that through the audition too, and I love the song choice too, and everything out there. But Blues for the City, we'll come back after this commercial break and then talk more about that, dive into a couple songs. But you got to play one for us and play us to the commercial break too as well, because after the song we're going to go right to the commercial. So what's up first today?
Well, any genre you want to hear?
Man, you know, look, if I'm going to give one out here and just kind of go for it, everything too as well. I love Otis Redding. Would you be so kind to do that song again that you did for the audition?
Okay.
I love that song. I love what you did. You put a lot of soul into it. And hey, just like the judges, you had goosebumps up and down my arms, my spine. And I was like, you know what? He's the real deal. And I looked at my wife over there and I said, you know, as a guy who hosts a music show, there's my winner. There's the guy that right there, Memorial Day, they're going to say, the next American Idol is Kevin Gullage. There it is, the confetti falls. So that's what I did to her. She goes, man, we're early in this competition. I said, honey, you know I've got an eye and an ear for talent.
Yes, sir.
So
thank you
here
very
it is.
much.
Kevin Gullage on the backstage pass, a little Otis Redding here. Then we'll go to commercial break. It's all yours, man.
If I were the sun way up there, I'd spread love most everywhere. I'll be the moon when the sun goes down, just to show you I'm still around. 'Cause that's how strong my love is. 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 I'll be the ocean, so deep and wide. Catch every tear whenever you cry. I'll be the breeze after tears are gone. I'll dry your eyes, keep you warm, 'cause that's how strong my love is. 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 Come on. That's how strong my love is. Oh, that's how strong my love is.
That is one of the greatest soul songs of all time, with Otis Redding putting his stamp on it too. And there's Kevin Gullage's version here on the Backstage Pass presented by MitchMacs.com, Hank Jr. Productions, and our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. We're going to come back, talk about Kevin's album. We still got one more performance. I'm going to let him choose the second song. I just had goosebumps, and I was saying, yes, sir, right there. And we'll come back and talk about Blues for the City, which is the current EP. There's also some work going on behind the scenes. Of course, the competition, the duet round, comes up this Sunday night at, I believe, 7 o'clock, and it's Sunday and Monday nights to see who actually finalizes the top 24. And Kevin's going into the duet round coming up this weekend, which is the first weekend in April out there. So more to come here on the Backstage Pass. Right now, a word from Bangtail Whiskey and our good friends over at MitchMacs. More with Season 20 Idol contestant Kevin Gullage here on the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned for more. We're coming right back.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, it's Kevin Gullage here, American Idol Season 20 contestant. It is the Backstage Pass. And, of course, coming up here in a few weeks, we're going to have a great show for you. Pete Agnew is going to join us from the great rock and roll band Nazareth. Looking forward to that coming up the week of April 18th. Back here presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out at the website at the bottom of the screen there, MitchMacs.com, and Hank Jr. Productions. Appreciate all the work that our sponsors do to keep the program running. And we had a little version of Otis Redding there before we went to break there. It was Kevin's audition there. So as you kind of go into this next phase of it, past the auditions, and I know this genre challenge, get to Hollywood, you get to the big theater and that kind of thing. And I've been to that very venue, that street right there in LA. So I know exactly where you guys were, close to that Nokia Theater. Amazing how much talent is in there. And I believe I read somewhere where each year they only take about 140, 150 contestants to Hollywood out of something like almost 400,000 that auditioned. That is an unbelievable, staggering number. As you get there, and I watched that episode, and I loved it too. You got on there with the keyboard, and you did something too for like television drama at its best. Tell the folks who may have missed that or going to go back and watch it on demand that I'm like, he's in that genre Soul Challenge. They've got all these former idols coming back to mentor you guys. I mean, Haley Reinhart and Lee DeWise and just so many, Jordan Sparks. I mean, all that kind of stuff. The feeling that went into it, the conversations you had with those people who had either won it or finished there in the top 10, and then you go on stage. Was that kind of planned with the thing? Because it caught me, threw me for a loop, man.
It was. I'm a very. I like to mess with people. I love joking. My dad's a big part of being, a musician. You understand, is joking with other people. It's always like, hey, even in between sets, you'll be like, hey, you want to see me play a prank on this friend? And it's like you're just having a good time. Well, right before going on stage, I looked to one of my friends who I made while I was out there, and I said, hey, psst. They go, what? I said, I'm going to troll the judges. They said, what? I said, I'm going to troll them. They said, what? I said, I'm going to troll the judges. I'm like, Kevin, don't do that. I said, nah, I'm going to do it. because that's just like the fun part that I love for every show, I love any time that I play music. I love to have a smile. I love to know that I've engaged with the audience, at least whoever the audience is. It's about having a good time all around. I went to school for jazz, and a big part of going to school for jazz is learning how to play things that a lot of people don't understand, but musicians understand. Yeah. And while that's really cool, I personally like to have fun with everybody, because if everybody's not having fun, you're not having, and you're being you have a sort of selfish thing going on where it's like, yeah, I had fun because I played this, but I like to have fun with the audience more than I like to have fun just by myself doing what I do. So I said, and it's like if I wanted to just flare out, I could have, but I wanted to have like just a moment of, uh-oh, what's going on? Is Kevin messing up?
That's what I was like. I was like, I looked at my wife and said, no, he did not fall apart. No, he's got this round. He's on to the duets and in the top 24. And then of course, now we're going to Hawaii if they're going back there to whatever, the Disney resort. And we got a few more weeks to see this guy. This is not a one and done.
The saxophone player from my band actually just like freaks out. He said yesterday, he told me, he said, I was watching and I said, Kevin, what are you doing? And he said, yeah, Kevin, you got me too. And then I decided, I was like, after I did it, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm a little tired. I'm so tired of being alone. So tired of on my own. Won't you help me, girl? As soon as you can. And it was like, okay, surprise. And then when Katy Perry just hops up and goes, you bad, I was like, success. It's like amazing. I was actually sort of scared because after I got off stage, the person who interviews us goes, hey, so what was that? I said, it's a little bit of a rope-a-dope, you fake with your left and you swing with your right. Yeah. And she replies back to me, oh, well, that's nice. But hey, aren't you nervous that the judges, as much as they hopped up and did everything, had fun, aren't you nervous that they'll pull a rope-a-dope on you? And my anxiety shot through the roof because I was like, I didn't think about that. I had fun with them. They might have fun with me. And but when that happened, I was like, man, oh man, am I in trouble? But then when I found out I was going through, I was like, thank the Lord. what a risk. What a rush. And
you
and
left it with that impression, no doubt. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
And that the rope-a-dope is a good way to describe that. It is.
Yes, sir.
I love
And
that.
that's the big thing. It's not just about singing a song. It's not just about going out there and doing that. It's about leaving an impression, being like, wow, this is a great thing that this person just did. Like any stage that Ray Charles, B.B. King, Billy Preston, Dr. John, no matter who it is, any stage they played on, when you walk on a stage, they've played on, you say, wow, this is the stage that Ray Charles played on. and I want to have that same effect one day, to the kid who's like 6 years old right now, and in 6 years they'll be 12. I want them to be like, hey, this is the stage that Kevin Gullage played on. And the way you do that, you have to do it by leaving an impression.
Well, you certainly did that for me, my friend, no doubt. And I want to talk about this great album, Blues for the City, and, of course, the new projects coming out for you guys who are working behind the scenes. Of course, the competition, but also another new album and a collection of songs coming out to get the music in the hands of the KG fans out there. And let's have you play another one. It's going to be your choice. It's dealer's choice here, so whatever you want to do, my friend, feel free to play it here for us on the show. And we got another 10 minutes or so with Kevin here on the show. And, of course, the duet round coming up this weekend in Hollywood, of course, and be sure and tune into that on ABC. And then Monday night, we'll set the tone for the top 24. And you guys have had me make predictions before and bold things out there. And I've had superstars like Lainey Wilson, who I met in Nashville at CRS, and got to hug her. The next thing you know, she's at the Academy of Country Music Awards performing a show. And I said, watch out, things a man ought to know is going to win Song of the Year. And it did. Kevin Gullage is going to make the top 24. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know for sure, but I'm predicting it. So there we go. Here on Idol. Hey, we'll have you play another one for us, Kevin. What are we going to hear?
Yes, sir. Well, I'll play something a little special for people like me from Louisiana,
All right, there we go.
What has happened down here? All the winds done changed. Clouds rolled in from the north, and it started to rain. Lord, it rained real hard for a long, long time. There was 6 feet of water in the streets of Evangeline. River rose all day, river rose all night. Lost some family in the flood. Some people made it out all right. River way down through Blackman's. There was 6 feet of water in the streets of Evangeline. Louisiana. They tried to wash us away. They tried to wash us away. Louisiana. They tried to wash us away. They tried to wash us away. Now listen to me. President Coolidge came down in a railroad train with a little fat man, had a notepad in his hand. President said to the fat man, Lord, it's such a shame what has happened to this poor man's land. Louisiana. They tried to wash us away. tried to wash us away. Louisiana, Louisiana. They tried to wash us away. They tried to wash us away. Louisiana, Louisiana. They tried to wash us away. 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 Tried to wash us away. They tried to wash us away. They tried to wash us away.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's once a generation lifetime talent. I'm telling you right now. He's cannot wait for this Sunday night to watch it. Again, the duet round coming up this week. Season 20 Idol contestant Kevin Gullage here on the Backstage Pass. Again, thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, our good friends at MitchMacs.com, and of course over there at Hank Jr. Productions. A beautiful song, and for those who live in Louisiana and make it their home, a fantastic state, and of course anybody can truly feel a song that makes an impact such as that too, and make people happy again and come out stronger on the other side. Sir. If you can understand those lyrics, no doubt. We'll take a final timeout, come back with Kevin. We're going to do some rapid fire, get to know him more on a personal basis, food, drinks, activities outside of music, things like that. And we'll find out if Kevin is a New Orleans Saints fan coming up here on the backstage on the Backstage Pass. Probably a dumb question. He's probably like, I am a Saints fan.
Yes, sir. So am I. Trust me.
I love that. Here's a word from Bangtail Whiskey and our good friends at MitchMacs. Hang tight. More with Season 20 Idol contestant Kevin Gullage here on the Backstage Pass. And, of course, more to come here in just a little bit. Right now, word from our sponsor. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back on the show again, of course, Kevin Gullage joining us here on the Backstage Pass, presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, MitchMacs.com and Hank Jr. Productions. Current album is Blues for the City. He loves music so much he can play right on through the commercials, which I love it. I wish he just play.
Yes.
To pay those bills, but, of course, I love that. Practice makes perfect here on the Backstage Pass. And, of course, coming up this weekend, Sunday night, is the duet round for the remaining contestants there who survived the genre challenge. And, of course, Monday night, they set the top 24. And then they get off to Hawaii, which I wish I was going with them to that Disney resort out there and to have a fun time before coming back. And I think it's the top 12 or 13, somewhere in there, make the live shows in Los Angeles there and get down to the Nokia Theater. And I've loved it so much. It's a great competition, no doubt. I wanted to ask you before I get into a little rapid fire, we wrap up the show here. You guys put out Blues for the City in 2018. The song that caught most people's attention on there, and one of my favorites, was Valerie. How was it born? Tell me about that.
Tell you about Valerie. Well, my dad is a musician. I told you, and I hope everyone has understood that clearly by now. But my dad said, "Hey, Kevin, I want you to learn the words to Valerie." And you know, Valerie's a very popular song. Mm-hmm. He said, "We want to make this bluesy, so let's arrange it. Let's fix it. Let's do the way that we want to do it." So let's slow it down. Let's try putting it in 6/8. And that was in 2018. That was when I was a freshman in college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had just started getting into the blues more. My dad said, I hope you know the words. I said, I do know the words now. He goes, all right, well, sing it. Well, sometimes I go out. Sing it slow. Well, sometimes I go out. Now imagine it in 6/8. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across that water, and it was just, it made sense and it felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us, when we were recording it, we were like, man, this could be something. This could be something really fun. This could be something really big for a lot of people, because everyone's so used to Valerie being, the up-tempo Amy Winehouse version of Valerie.
Mm-hmm.
But this had almost a classic vibe to it, a classic feeling. Ray Charles, those guys, the real singers of that soulfulness and blues feeling. So that's how we ended up doing Valerie in 6/8 and making it into something that was just slower and felt really good. And even since then, it's grown. Since then, Valerie has changed, actually. And that was 2018. Now it's 2022, right? It's
crazy,
2020. Hey, I lost track during COVID and everything. I lost track.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so actually I'm super excited, because from Blues for the City came our newest upcoming album. Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed Blues. And this is my first time actually talking about it in a live interview. So I'm actually really excited to be able to talk about it. So yeah, we have a new album coming, a full-length album called Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed Blues. And this one's going to have a good deal of my songs on it, as well as a good deal of classics that we all love. And, because it's something old and something new, all of your favorite tracks from Blues for the City will also be on Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed Blues. But, some new friends are on it, such as Mr. Eric Gales, Keiko Kamaki, lots of, Ronnie. Oh gosh, one of my favorite Chicago guitarists actually is on this. And man, why am I blanking right now? I'm having such a moment.
Right. It happens. Lots of remember.
Yeah, you're gonna hear some of all the stuff that people love hearing it from the live shows. We said, hey, let's make a new album. Let's put it on there. And Ronnie Baker Brooks is on this new album. Eric Gales, a lot of great features. 504 Horowitz, Keiko Kamaki, Terrell King playing lap steel. We are very, very excited for this new album, and I hope that everyone wants it.
I think we will, and we'll definitely push it here on the Backstage Pass, and of course have you back on after the competition to talk more about it, maybe play some keys for us and play a couple of songs off of it too, no doubt. And like I said, best of luck through the competition as it rolls on over the next few weeks, and they set the top 24 and then get to the live shows, no doubt.
Yes.
Got to ask you about these two things. Favorite Kevin Gullage food here in the rapid fire segment. Favorite food
Kevin
and
Gullage food?
Yeah.
By far, pastelaya. Not jambalaya, pastelaya. Totally different. Yeah, pastelaya. And it has to be cooked in the right thing,
Yeah, the right. Yep. What about beverages, as far as the go-to beverages when you're having one of those rough days?
I am an apple juice addict. I love apple juice. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the sugar or the apple taste, because the apple juice, for some reason, doesn't taste anything like apples taste. But I love the taste of it. I love apple juice, and most Brazilian food I actually really enjoy. Brazilian food and beverages, such as maracujá. I like maracujá, but I also love guaraná, and and I love black beans over rice. Yeah.
Yes, that's and definitely this time of year, about a few weeks out from getting it, as soon as those prices drop a little bit more. Crawfish, anybody in Louisiana, Texas knows crawfish is
yes,
the thing, whether you have your own boil or you get it at market price when you go out to eat. It's always a fun time to eat some crawfish. If you've never had it, we'll tell you how to peel it and do all that kind of stuff. Kevin's an
And
expert at
I love a good crawfish peeling race. That's one of the things that we do down here. Just like, hey, you ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Get after it. All right, let's do this one because I love doing this one. Favorite book to read, or what's the latest book you're reading now?
Favorite book to read?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up a Narnia fan. I am a huge Narnia fanatic. You can ask me about all 7 books, I think a total of 8 movies, and I will have an answer for you that is actually contextual. That, and I love Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the series, the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, as well as the Heroes of Olympus series. In other words, I love Rick Riordan and I love C.S. Lewis. They are my favorite. And poetry. I love poetry books. Langston Hughes, Shel Silverstein. It doesn't matter. I love poetry.
All right, away from music, what's the favorite? And of course, it could be reading. You never know. What's the favorite KG hobby out there?
My favorite, one more time?
Favorite hobby, as far as away from music, get a little downtime. What's some of your favorite hobbies to take part in?
I love being outside, so I do a lot of gardening and agricultural things, as well as fishing, and I have started working a little bit with horses. So those are my favorite hobbies. Actually, Sunday, I'm going to see my little cousin's rodeo. I'm super excited. This is my first time seeing her compete. So,
well, I tell you what, speaking of competing, he's doing that on season 20 of American Idol, the great 20 seasons it's been around. Of course, those 3 platinum people, they're still sitting up in that box. Of course, now they got to take part in that duet round. Best of luck to every contestant out there, too, no doubt. And the duet round is Sunday night, and then the top 24 will be set there in Los Angeles from the episodes. And, of course, top 24, he's got Superstar and Stardust written all over him, too. We appreciate the time here on the show. It's Kevin Gullage on season 20 of American Idol. My friend, enjoyed the time so much. We'll have to do this again, no doubt.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I'd love it.
You got it. Appreciate you being with us. Yeah, thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMacs.com, and our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions. We'll talk to you guys Monday. Arbor North is going to stop by, another fantastic country music duo. And, of course, here in a couple of weeks, Pete Agnew of the rock band Nazareth. Cannot wait for that here on the Backstage Pass. We'll talk to you guys next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, have a great weekend here from all of us at the Backstage Pass. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.